This is Micah Yarbrough giving his career speech. These are my note cards. This is the audience. Air traffic control specialist is a career that demands respect and excellence. There are many degrees to an air traffic controller, and I will be discussing some of them today. First, you must become an air traffic controller. And in a recent interview with Christopher Key, a 10-year veteran of the profession, I learned there are multiple ways to become an air traffic controller. The first is to get training through the military. It requires a 5-year enlistment where you get 4 months of training at school, and then you go on for the next 4 years to learn how to be an air traffic controller. You can go through 31 schools across the country and Puerto Rico to get a controller training institute degree and then get hired on to the FAA, who employs the biggest part of the air traffic controllers in this country. Or there are certain parts of the year through history where you've been able to get hired on to the FAA as an air traffic controller without any training at all. After becoming an air traffic controller, there are multiple specialties that you can do as an air traffic controller. The first is an air traffic control tower. In an air traffic control tower, there are numerous jobs. The first is a flight data clearance delivery. Flight data and clearance delivery issues the pilot their clearance from one airport to another. This is their route of flight that they will be taking. After they contact clearance delivery and flight data, they contact the ground controller. The ground controller works that aircraft from the hangar out to the runway. After the aircraft gets to the runway, they must call the local controller. The local controller is the one who works the aircraft from the end of the runway for departure until they get out of the airspace of the control tower. After they leave the airspace of the control tower, they would contact the terminal radar approach controller. The terminal radar approach controller has a vast area of airspace around busy airports. There are numerous smaller airports inside their airspace that they have to deal with as well. They take the aircraft from departure, or from the end of the runway, until they climb up to the altitude where they will be cruising. When they get away from the approach controller, they will be contacting center. When the center controller will work them from cruising altitude from one terminal radar approach control to the next. And once they get closer to their destination airport, they will reverse course and talk to the approach controller to get to the tower airport that they will be going to, where they will contact the local controller for their landing clearance. Once they land and get off the runway, they will contact the ground controller, who will give them their route of taxi back to their hangar. With this profession comes a lot of stress. Professor Giovanni Costa of the Institute of Occupational Medicine at the University of Verona says that with this stress comes long-term health effects of hypertension, diabetes, peptic ulcers, and psychoneurotic disorders. Although the air traffic control job comes with lots of stress, most controllers deal with it productively and remain very professional while on the job.